Live, the exclusive USC Trojans coaches show.
Place is down, the kick is away, it's got the distance. He's got it! And it's good! And there's no time on the clock! The scoreboard clock reads 0-0-0, and the Trojans have won it!
Behind-the-scenes insights and breaking news from the student-athletes who play for the Cardinal and Gold.
Jones to get the call on the right side, and he's in the end zone for a touchdown, USC.
Trojans Live is brought to you by Cooper Tires. Count on Cooper, an American company since 1914.
And now, here is Jordan Moore and Sean Cody.
Hello and welcome to Trojans Live on ESPN LA 710. Tune in and right here live on Twitter at USC_athletics. Thanks for joining us on a Monday night. Lots to cover. Spring football returns this week, so we'll talk to defensive backs coach Greg Burns and pass rusher Christian Rector. Pro Day is on Wednesday, so we'll hear from Aka Cedric Ware as he gets ready for that. And women's track and field is back at #1 in the country, so we'll have sprinter T.T. Terry on the show. I am Jordan Moore, happy to be rejoined by Sean Cody tonight. SC, what was your 40 time back at USC Pro Day 2005?
Do you want the official time or the time I used to tell everybody? I ran that 4.8, coach, and I was flying down the field, but I think I was 5'1". I was in that time range. I mean, I was 300 pounds. So I was kind of big. So
Who was faster, you or Mike Patterson?
Mike Patterson was probably faster. He was lower to the ground, more compact, and had
Is that how that works?
little legs. Yeah, that's how it works usually.
All right, we're counting down to kickoff with Mito Swiss watches since 1918, the official timekeeper of USC Athletics. Be the first to own the Fight On limited edition timepiece. True Trojan fans, visit shopmito.com/USC. That's shopmito, MIDO.com/USC. We are joined now by the new defensive backs coach, Greg Burns, and this is a reunion here. Now, I know Sean didn't spend much time in the defensive backfield, but what's it like to get the band back together here?
Oh yeah, no, it's pretty good, man. Sean did a really good job for us back then. It made my job a lot easier in regards to getting that pass rush and disrupting the quarterback, and secondary can't do much without the D-line.
I was just about to say, Coach, we were about to go at it again because we'd always go back and forth about even just a coverage. There's no such thing as a coverage sack, Jordan. So Coach, what's it like to be back on the campus, be around USC again? Obviously, you've been to a couple places in the Pac-12. What's it like to be back here at USC?
Well, it's great. I mean, it's home, so the opportunity to come back and get an opportunity to coach again back at your home schools, it's a really good feeling. We want the expectations of what has happened in the past, and I'm excited for that challenge.
Yeah, you make a great point about that relationship between the pass rush and the secondary. And that was an issue at times last year, and defensive playmaking was way down. Now, you weren't out there coaching. That's part of the reason why you are here. How do you get the defensive playmaking back to SC levels? Because, there were not a lot of turnovers for us last year.
Yeah, well, I mean, for my sake, the biggest thing is I can only deal with the things that I am in control of. Yeah. So working with the secondary, just teaching them the tools that they need to utilize their skill set to make plays, as well as understanding the situations and the opportunities for turnovers to occur. So those things we work on, obviously drill work and turnover drills and stuff like that, but also understanding the scheme defensively, learning what offenses are trying to do against you so that you can now prepare yourself and have an idea of what to expect when you're going out and playing.
Coach, you've only had these guys for a week, and you get a week off with spring break, and now you're back on the field. What have you seen from your group so far, a younger group, but have some experience out there?
Yeah, they're young.
They are very young.
But the cool part is I got a couple of safeties who've gotten some playing experience. Talanoa, even though he's young, he's got a lot of maturity for his age. Isaiah Polomeau is a kid who started early, obviously got injured, but he understands the defense pretty well. And then Chase also is a kid who's been going through the whole process last year and got an opportunity to play towards the latter part of the year, but he still gets that year back. So those are some solid mental players. And then you got all the other guys. You got the Elijah Griffins, who's recovering, but has a lot of skill set. You got the Greg Johnsons, who, again, has a lot of skill set. He's recovering from his injuries as well, but moving around pretty well. So that nucleus right there with those five guys are it's a pretty good group to work with. Now, the other stuff is what we got to get going. All the other guys, and then get ready for the incoming freshmen and the JC transfer, and trying to figure out how those guys are going to fit in, because a lot of those guys have to play. They have to fill in to the 2D.
You're listening to new defensive backs coach Greg Burns on Trojans Live. This is his second tour of duty at USC. He was back in the early Pete Carroll championship years. And, you do come back, and you guys talked about the youth. How do you approach this maybe differently than if you were inheriting a secondary where you came in and these guys were juniors and seniors? You do sort of have a clean slate with young players.
Yeah, well, the biggest thing is from a coaching standpoint, you have to come into it with the mindset of, okay, we know a lot of stuff, so let's not assume that they're going to be able to take in our 20 years of knowledge.
Yeah.
So let's simplify. So that's just basically what we're starting to do. We're not going to incorporate a ton of defense. We're just going to work the bases and not do as much, just get good at the minimal plays that we're going to utilize.
Coach, me and you were both going against Kerry Colbert back in the day when we were here in practice. Now you're facing off him in the coaching ranks. Coach Colbert's over there, man. Well, he's got a talented group over there. What's like covering some of those guys?
Yeah. No, we got a really good core of receivers. We've got quarterbacks and running backs and everything. I mean, so be honest, that's the cool part. You come to SC to go to practice and compete against the best. So by the time you get to the game, it's not as difficult. Games become easy because of the hard work and the talent you face in practice. Mm-hmm. So that's what SC's about.
Yeah, and it's interesting, too, because there's a change in offensive scheme, and so maybe it hasn't played out in practice yet through 1 week of spring football, but what will it be like preparing defensive backs, sort of going week in and week out against what Graham Harrell's not afraid to call the air raid? It's not Mike Leach. They don't throw necessarily 70% of the time, but a different kind of offense than the pro-style system that we've come accustomed to at USC.
Oh, yeah. It's different, but at the same time, being at SC, being in the Pac-12, you're facing those types of offenses.
Exactly.
So it's not overly new. The cool part is that our offense has really good schemes. So for us as a defense and defensive coaches, we have the opportunity to teach our guys some unusual pass concepts, run concepts, blocking protections and schemes, which will still help them later on. In regards to opponents that we'll face. So it's exciting because it's a lot of teaching to explain to them, hey, this is what this concept is trying to do against this defense.
Coach, I get this question all the time, about our group and about, what we were able to do special at our time and what you thought was special. And my always answer is obviously the defensive lineman and Matt Grudegood is my answer is why we were so special. Coach, when you think back about it, what were some of those special things about that group that we had? Why were we able to do some special things?
Yeah, for me, it's the players. I mean, there were so many guys.
I was going to say the coaches, Jordan. Sorry.
I mean, yeah, but for as a coach, it's the players. It is the Matt Grudegoods. It's Clay Matthews, and where did he come from? It's the Darnell Bings, and obviously it's the Troy Polamalos and all those guys. But the biggest thing that I always talk about, and this, is our mindset was just different. I mean, we didn't compete or play with the thought of, oh, I hope we win. It was just the weirdest feeling. We didn't. Our mindset was, well, we already, the phrase, we won the game. Let's just see who makes the good plays. That's honestly how we approached it. So they played free and fast. And when you do that, I mean, man, things happen. When you ain't got nothing to worry about, when you're not worried about winning, and you just going and having fun and playing, that's where you have fun, and that's where things happen, plays happen. The belief of, okay, gosh, they're driving on us. Don't worry, something's gonna happen. We're gonna make a play. That's just how we work, and it's a mentality, and it was instilled, and it was pushed to the point that we got them to believe it. And they played that way.
What did you learn in terms of coaching the secondary from Pete Carroll, who by trade was a great defensive backs coach? So I imagine, I don't know if that's a little pressure, but you're the defensive backs coach for a head coach that's a defensive backs coach in his history. So, and he's always had great secondaries. What did you learn from him that you took on the rest of your career?
Well, I just learned that there was a different way to coach. You know, not back in the day, but in my earlier careers, I was more of the, you could say, not necessarily militant, but the hard coach. Dang it, do it this way, do it that way. You know, get your butt going. Then I come over here, and he's all nice and happy and joking. I'm like, why are you joking with him? You know, and it made me realize, hey, there's more than one way to coach. You don't have to be that way. And that opened my eyes to just, hey, there's just multiple ways about doing things. You know, there's more than one way to skin a cat. And I think that's the biggest thing I've learned, because it opened my eyes that, you know, I have to adapt and or change. And throughout the course of these years, things are happening. People are changing. The players are different. And you, as a coach, you're going to have to be able to adapt to last.
You see how I got nervous when he walked down? I was like, oh, Coach Burns is here, man. I better sit up. Sit on my chair.
I love it.
I almost took my hat off, man. I got nervous.
I love it. It's all the mentality, and Coach Burns is going to bring that mentality back to the USC secondary. We really appreciate you joining us. We'll have you on throughout the season. That's the new defensive backs coach, Greg Burns. He talked about, hey, that relationship between the secondary and the pass rush. Well, we've got a big-time pass rusher next. It's Christian Rector on Trojans Live.